And welcome back to the Artefactors Union. I'm your host and foreman, Douglas Scoundrels. Today we are assembling the Run Them Down box for the Guild faction. The Guard keyword box contains 6 models, 2 mounted guard, and 4 Guild Hounds. Here's one of our guardsmen, and then obviously these are dogs. Hope I didn't have to explain that to you. Right. Artwork renders on the back. We've got 2 back here, and the 4 dogs. So I guess mounted guard, guild guard, well, whatever. Yeah, so if it wasn't obvious, the complexity is mostly going to be residing in these 2 models, which we'll go ahead and do first. The dogs should be pretty quick, but hopefully I won't be surprised by anything. So those are our renders. Let's look at the sprues. Here's our sprues. The mounted guard being on the big sprue, 1 guard on each side, with a good number of bits for each one. And then our guild hounds, and it looks like we've got 2, 3, max of 4 bits a pop. Well, this guy's 6. This dog is special. All right. Regardless, the guild hounds are going to be a lot simpler, so we'll go ahead and get started with mounted guard A, this guy on the bottom. So let's go ahead and look at the instructions for mounted guard A and mounted guard B while I clip this out. Okay, mounted guard A. Let's start with the horse. Grab the 2 halves of the horse, and then we'll do the 2 horse legs as well. Then we'll go ahead, excuse me, and we'll glue the left leg onto the horse. Glue the right leg onto the torso, add the torso onto the horse with the right leg and the left leg. Then we'll do the sword, followed by the arm that is holding onto the mane, and then the gun arm over here, which I believe is the left arm. Oh, well, not sure. After that, we'll do the bottom, bigger part of the coat, the top part of the duster, and then I believe all that is left is the brim of the hat. So we'll see if that ends up being the actual order, but I'm pretty sure we can at the very least confirm that we're going to start with the horse. Let's grab this and this. Take 1 horse half, and you add your 2nd horse half. Now let's do our legs next. This one is going to be the leg that is more curled, more upright than the other one. Actually, I'm just going ahead and cut it out. It's going to be this bit. That is a mighty fine horse leg. Now let's flip them over and do our other horse leg. Okay, horse has the requisite number of legs. So let's move on to our rider. We're going to go ahead and add the left leg, which is going to go right along there. And that will be this one on the sprue. Now, this doesn't really slide around, so I'm happy that we put it on first as opposed to trying to attach it after the torso was on. So let's set our horse down for a second. Let's add our other leg right here to our torso. This is the head, and we're looking at the back, so the leg is going to go right along there. Okay, here we have a torso, and now we have a torso with a leg. Now you see where the leg will attach to the side of the horse, and where the stump will attach to the other leg. So let's go ahead and add that on top of our horse now. And 1, and a 2. There is a tooth that is on the side of the horse that'll go into that hole that was on the other side of the leg here. But I think the big thing you really need to get aligned is the left hip. Try and make that as smooth of a seam as possible. Right, now, as much as I want to put the arm on, to fully stabilize this, we need to put the sword on first. There is just the tiniest little groove right there where the sword will attach. Let's see if we can find, yep, it looks like right there is our smooth spot, so it's going to attach right on that. Yep, all right, let's do that. Before and after. Wouldn't worry too much about getting this to be exact because it's going to be covered up by his arm. Alright, speaking of arms, let's do the right arm. I'm going to connect here, go across the chest, and attach the big chunk of mane that's on the hand to right there. Okay, the right arm is in. It's going to look awkward until you put the rest of the duster on, but that looks good on the mane, and it fills that gap in his chest, so we'll call it good. Alright, now, left arm, the one holding the gun, going to fit right in that shoulder socket. And he's going to be pointing the gun towards the camera. So, let's do that next. Pew pew. Man, does he look silly without the coat and hat brim. Okay, next is the long part of the duster, which is going to go across his shoulders first. That piece being this guy. It's going to be flown quite back, so I think our actual connection point is right there. And then, sure, after that, we'll do this. That's kind of on top of it. I'm not entirely sure where that connection point is just yet. And then the brim of the hat, which I think we're looking at the top of it, but again, we'll see. Let's do the coat. Actually, no, let's not do that. It looks like these two pieces need to combine together, the bigger part of the coat and the shoulder flappy part of the coat, before we put them on the actual guard. So let me clip this out and figure that out for you. Okay, I think I finally figured it out. We're not actually going to combine the two of them. We are, however, actually going to do the smaller piece first, because that more or less creates the shape that the bigger piece goes around. So it's going to kind of go in like that. So we'll say that this is the connection point that actually connects to the model. So I'm going to glue that now. Okay, that's glued in. Now we see our connection point for the bigger flap. This is our left side. So we're just going to have to snake it in under kind of like that. Something similar. I'll get it. And there we go. Yeah, it's a little weird, awkward getting that in there, but I have no idea how you would know what the exact shape is without this top piece being a guide. So that's how I'm going to say you should probably do the order. Okay, hat brim. Yeah, I was correct on what side was the bottom. Mounted guard A, hat brim. Flip it over. And you see that little notch right there? It's, goodness, it's really, really hard to see. But it does, trust me, there is a notch right here where the knife is. And that's basically telling us that that is the back of the head. And that is where that notch is supposed to fit with the hat brim. So add the hat brim. Okay, there is the hat brim. You want to pop it down as far as it'll go until it stops in the back. In the front, you can definitely overdo it and start like completely covering up his face. So you'll kind of see the sort of ridge around the top of his head. You want to make it flush with that ridge. But he's done. Let's put him on a base. Our first mounted guard is done, and I kind of hate that he only has one point of contact, and because I try to tape these down so that it's easy for them to remove them for the people that actually own them, it's just going to look like this, and it's pretty awful. Alright, not the easiest thing to do. Say that the smaller part of the cape or coat or whatever was, and its interaction with the bigger part of the coat was a bit of a pain. The figuring out the brim of the hat was also weird, and the sword, yeah, the sword was also unnecessarily difficult. I'm not sure you even need to put it on because it's not going to be that noticeable if it's gone. Okay, I think the next one's going to be easier, so let's move on to that. For our second mounted guard, got the same number of pieces, but this one feels like it's going to be slightly easier. I hope I am not wrong. There is a bit of a incorrect part of the instructions. There is no like extra piece of the horse's head, so we ignore that part. So we're gonna go ahead and grab the two halves of the horse first, put them together, then we'll do the horse's legs. After that, we will grab the torso, add both legs to it, I think. Actually, no, we will add both legs to the horse because they got those nice teeth, and then we'll slide the torso on top of it, do the top of her head and her cape, possibly. I'm just not entirely sure how that's going to interact with her arms yet. At some point we'll put the sword on there as well. Then we can do her gun arm, the arm that is holding onto the reins, and then her hat. Alright, let's grab these two pieces first. We've got one horse half, now let's add the other horse half. We got most of a horse done now. Alright, our legs. This one is going to be our left leg, and this one is going to be our right leg. So let's add the left leg. See, I already love this horse more than the previous one because it has more than one point of contact on the damn base. Okay, there's the left leg. Now let's do the right leg. Cool. Alright, that's what it looks like from the front. And let's start adding our legs. Go ahead and start with the right leg and then the left leg. Right leg goes on this side. Okay. Now let's add the left leg. Again, there's a nice tooth that'll go in that hole. Alright, as long as you squeeze them up near the top, they should set in to exactly where they're supposed to go and wouldn't worry too much about it. Don't squeeze down by the feet, that'll knock them out of place. Now let's go and grab the torso and put it on top of our legs. Okay. Torso fits on both the sides. Thighs, bleh, can't say the word. That looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and do the sword because the sword is really hard to see where it's supposed to go. There is just a rectangle right here that's kind of flatter than the rest of the leg, and that is our tiny, tiny connection point for the sword. Reference, here's our sword, and it is not on that side. Yep, there's just a little bit of smoothness right here. Let us know that is our connection point. So that is what is going to attach to the thigh. It's a real bad connection as far as like knowing where it's supposed to go. Actually use the render on the back of the box. That does actually a really good job of showing you where that's supposed to go. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, there's our sword. Again, just trying to make sure it matches the render and make sure it doesn't stick out too far, otherwise it's going to snag on something and just rip off. Also, it's unnecessary, I don't think. No one's going to really complain if she's missing her sword. Okay, now I think there might be a little bit of guidance for where the shoulders attach if we add the cape first before we do the arms. So let's go ahead and do the cape next, or coat, or whatever. This big thing. Let's do that. Connection point is on the other side, right there. Okay, cape is on. Looks a little weird, but it's positioned real snugly, so I know it's in the right spot. I think now we can do the right arm, or the left arm, which is going to connect right here into the shoulder, and then onto this hand that is holding the reins. Okay. Make sure it connects at the wrists, and then the shoulder's just going to sit kind of awkwardly, but you can see that right here, that is a connection point. So there's a piece that goes over this that'll eventually attach to that shoulder. I think that's her head and hair. But I think we should be able to get the little right arm in. This is the left. This is the right. I don't remember what I said. The right arm's end is going to fit right there, and she's just going to be holding her gun. Again, I think matching the render is probably the easiest way to do that. Okay. Okay, I spent the past half hour recording the wrong thing, so... yeah, this is what our right arm looks like. There's the angle of the gun she's pointing, and I've discovered that it would probably be... it may be smarter to put the head and cape on before the left arm, just because you can't really tell the alignment of the left arm. It really does fit in nicely after you put the head on, but you can still do it this way, or you can do the head first and then the arms, whichever you think would be easier for you. But let's go ahead and put that head on there. And the rough spot that I definitely didn't just rip a bit off of. And there is her head and the coat thing, cape, I don't know. Fits on nicely. Aligns with the arms. So we're all good. Now we can just finish with her hat on top of her head. And she's been doffed. Right. Okay, let's reboot. Our second mounted guard is done. She was a little bit easier than the first one. Hooray. Difficulties for her was figuring out the order of putting the arms on versus the head and hair and top part of the coat. And the sword also was unnecessarily difficult. But easier than the first one still. And yeah, a bit of a warning, the instructions are pretty way off. They don't have her legs split off, and there appears to be a piece of the horse head that isn't actually a bit, so glad I'm making these instructions. Alright, let's do some dogs. Well, here's the Hound sprue, and I have done the majority of the first one before I realized I was recording incorrectly. Go me. So we're going to do all of these at once before we do the review, because most of them are relatively simple. This first one being the most complex with 6 bits. But let's go ahead and go over the instructions, and then I'll tell you more or less what I did, because now I can't point to bits for you. I'm sorry. So the order of assembly is going to be, we're going to have the two halves of the body together. I would split this up if I could, but there's too much of a surface area, and so being able to remove this is going to just break something. So this is how you're going to start, with both halves of the body together. And we're going to do the front legs. The one with the thicker connection point is our right leg. It's going to go right in here, and the leg's going to be pointing backwards. The same with the left leg, so you can see it as a smaller connection point, and will also be going backwards. So let's do the right leg. Front leg anyways. Okay, now we do the left one. And there's the left leg. Alright, now let's do this back right leg. Gonna be the noticeably chunkier one, or the leg that we haven't done yet. There we go, and as you can see, if we did the back leg first, it would be really, really hard to get that front right leg in, so we'll do that after the other legs. Alright, our last piece, the big triangular metal jaw thing, just going to connect right there. Okay, our first dog is done. Let's put him on a base. Second dog, even simpler. Going to grab let's say this half. Then we'll add the belly to him. And then after that, we'll encapsulate with the other half and finish again with the triangular jaw. Okay? Let's grab this piece and this piece. Here's our dog half, and then the belly piece is going to start right here and go up towards the crotch. So I'll add that now. Okay, there's the belly piece. Now let's add the other half of the dog. Okay, we're almost done with our doggo. Now just that triangular jaw piece, just like last time. Dog jaws in. Done with another one. Let's put them on a base. Yeah, let's just combine both halves of this one. Left half plus right half. Third dog done. Let's move on to the last one. Dog number 4, we're going to do the same as we did with the second one. We're going to grab one half of him, then add the belly, and then add the other half of him. So we'll grab the left half, the one with the actual like base connection point. One doggo half. Now add the belly. Again, the thicker part is going to be up near the chest, and the belly is going to be like the thinner part back here. My child is playing upstairs. Don't mind her. There is the chest piece. Now let's just do the other half of the dog. And maybe do a little bit of squishing here and there just to make sure it all lines up as best as you can. But our dog is done. Let's put him on a base. Our 4 guild hounds are done. We're gonna call them. I gave up on a theme, so we're just gonna go with cheddar, hooch, wishbone, and pork chop. The hardest part for this entire thing was obviously the legs on the first dog. Them being the smallest bits and being slightly awkward to actually put into the model. Everything else, relatively simple. Looks like I need to go fix some gaps, but other than that, just so much easier than the Rider, so I'll take it. Alright, let's look at the whole box. Okay, the Ride Them Down box is done, containing 2 mounted guard and 4 guild hounds. The hardest parts for this assembly were the cape on the first mounted guard, the swords for both mounted guard, the left arm for the second mounted guard, and the legs on the first guild hound. Overall, I'd say moderate level of difficulty for this build. A lot of it has to do with it just being an older box, when weird was a little bit more egregious. We'll just be honest with how the sprues were cut, but I didn't lose anything. Nothing was too impossibly small, and it worked out at the end. So, call it good. So, I've been your foreman, Douglas Scoundrels, helping you build a better Malifaux. Have a good night.